for all the curating that you did for us. Anyway, it's great to be with you. Several of my teammates, I'm part of the membership committee of UPCEA, and also staff colleagues from the organization are here to spend some time with you to share what we know about the organization and answer questions that you may have. So, welcome everyone. I am serving as the Dean of the School of Professional Studies at Wake Forest University. I too look forward to sharing what I know about the organization and what I do with you. To get us going, because there are several new faces here that we have not had the opportunity to meet yet, I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. Everybody who just joined us, feel free to enter into the chat your name, your school of affiliation, and to help us shape the conversation for the next hour, identify a challenge that you think about, something that is in your mind as it relates to your university, your function, the organization that you lead. That will help us customize the conversation. So thank you for joining us today. Today it's about you and the needs that you have in your work, and we're here to help with that. And I believe, Mel, you're next again.
Yep, I'm going to do a little Zoom creeping, as we call it these days. So thank you so much, Charles, for kicking us off. This session is being recorded today because we do have some people who wanted to attend that were not available. And so we are availing ourselves of the technology that allows us to record. We ask, because it's a collegial conversation, that you consider being on camera and talk with us, not just in the chat, but verbally as appropriate throughout today's session, because really is meant to be a getting to know you session and to answer your questions. The coffee chat today is focused on helping people who are not yet with an organization that is already a member of UPCEA. However, you might find out you are with an organization that is a member, and technically you already are a member. So one of the things we've put into the chat is we have a list of institutional members. You can click on that and see institutional members that are already with us. You can also see the list of corporate members. And if you're already with one of those organizations, you just have to go to the member profile page and create a login. So if you've ever created a social media login, you can create a login with us as well, and then you can start using benefits. And at any point in the future, if you get stuck with that login process, you can reach out to membership@upcea.edu and we can help you with that. And we're happy to do that along the way. Um, so any person who works as staff, faculty, or administration at any of those member institutions or corporate entities can go ahead and create that member profile. Your rosters are unlimited. So everybody you know who works with you can be using and benefiting from the membership. So we're going to pivot to the content for today, and we're going to go back to Charles.
Thanks, Mel. And I have learned how to unmute. Let me share a little bit about how we think about work, our work at UPCEA. We tend to cluster the work that we do with across membership in three buckets: learning about the learning process that we all follow to become better at what we do, knowledge, the specialized resources that are available to ensure that we have best practices, benchmarking, and other pieces of information that help us do our work better, and then actually doing the work better, doing. So learn, know, and do is what we focus on. So what we're going to do first is look at what you have shared with us in the chat already and identify opportunities that some of my teammates can use to share learning resources that the organization has to help members like you. I believe, Mike, you were going to share a little bit of an example of how the organization can help us become better at the learning that we do for our work.
Sure. So I'll talk about the UPCEA Professional Development Program. And so the association offers two badges or certificates, basically. One for professionals, so anyone at any level within your job role within your organization, and one that's geared toward more toward leaders or aspiring leaders. So within these two professional development certificates, you can take 5 courses. There are a bunch of different courses. I teach the forecasting and budgeting during challenging times. I always forget the exact name of the course. Um, and so these are, weekly Zoom sessions. Each course lasts about 6 weeks. So first week is just getting to know each other, and then 5 weeks of content. And so during the 1 hour Zoom meets, you'll usually talk about content and have an opportunity to interact with your peers. It's pretty low stakes. It doesn't take a lot of time. And, in my opinion, I've completed both of them, as well as teaching in the program. I think the biggest part of it is the networking that you make with other individuals that are seeing the same challenges that you're seeing or similar challenges, maybe slightly different. But we realize that even though our institutions are usually very different, some large, some small, some private, some public, we all have very similar challenges and we can learn from each other. And so that networking is what I thought was the most important and valuable part of the professional development program. And so I encourage you to take a look at that. We can put a link in the chat if we have not already. You can take a look at the Learning Center, see more about both of the programs, see some of the courses, and decide if you want to take a start with that.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that example. And another committee member, yeah, could also shared another example in the chat. So thank you both. Anybody else would like to share another learning resource or opportunity that either they have led or benefited from the association? Annie.
I'll go. Yeah. So I'm Annie Taylor at Penn State University, and I've been a really active member of UPCEA for a long time. Um, I love all the webinars and coffee chats like this. That's how I tend to get the most involved. They We have different networks within UPCEA that you can join. You can join as many as you want. I happen to be in the online administration one, and every month I get a newsletter that points out all the professional development opportunities I can take part of. And I am constantly putting them on my calendar. Mike mentioned networking, and definitely through things like the certificate programs, but also through these kind of events. I mean, I have met so many people at other institutions whose names I'm jotting down because I know I want to follow up to compare notes with them or learn more about what they're doing at their institution. So it's been great.
Thank you, Annie. Thanks for
Oh, I'm going to put a link to one more in the chat because there's something coming up that's free to members that I'm pretty excited about. So I'll put that in the chat.
Thanks for sharing. I'm happy to share as well because one of the key reasons that I joined the association or my institution joined the association is because we benefited enormously from the great work that is being done by the research and consulting teams of the association. In fact, before we established the school that I currently serve as the dean for, we asked UPCEA to complete a study for us and assess the potential feasibility of such a school. And here we are 3 years later with the school up and running. And recently, we engaged the team again to help us identify opportunities for a blended modality deliverables in our program set. And they have given us some great advice. So I have both personally and institutionally benefited from the great work that is going on at the association. Anybody else wants to share any other learning resource that is available before we switch to the next bucket of opportunities, which focus on the no? Well, thanks, Mel, for sharing the research and consulting link. And I think now we can move to the next one, knowing.
I think that's my cue there, right?
Correct. Yes.
Thank you. Hi everyone, and thank you for being here and thank you for your contributions in the chat. I'm Yakut Ghazi, Vice Provost for Learning, Innovation, and Digital Education at Duke University. I've been an UPCEA member for a long time, and I know that there are so many resources and the organization is so big. Sometimes it may feel overwhelming, but I think this framework of know, learn, and do is very helpful. So. While we're wrapping up sharing of those resources in the chat to help you and all of us actually, it's always good to have this refresher. We're going to move forward with that no section of today's discussion, which is peer connection. I'd like to introduce this gentleman in the some suit jacket, Jazz. We were making, we were pulling his leg a little bit before you all joined. Um, he's a network region leader, and he has so many insights to share. But my initial question for him is, what is one way that members can build valuable peer relationships through UPCEA, Jazz? Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So I'm Jazz Jackson. I serve as the Vice Provost and Chief Student Success and Experience Officer at Thomas Edison State University. And I would say there's multiple ways. For me, the best experience has been through volunteerism. Anyone who's trying to leverage their talents to be able to meet new people, to be able to help support and build resumes and skills would be through volunteerism. As from an example, I've served as a awards committee chair, a communications chair, a regional chair, a DEI a co-chair, and now I serve as a director at large. And so you can be able to serve in multiple different volunteer roles from both the regional, the national level, or even within the networks. I've and even in any of these aspects, you're able to connect with people. And the best part of being within the volunteer role is it's really low stakes, meaning that most of the time UPCEA does an amazing job to make sure that the work that you do as a volunteer is a low lift because each volunteer experience is supported by a staff. It allows for you to be able to just show up and really leverage your talents. And so most of these people on the call, I actually moved up the ranks within the organization in which I built great rapport, and I consider them more family than colleagues because every time I get to see them, it's like a family reunion because of the rapport that I've built with them through these volunteerism experiences.
That's such a great answer, Janice. Thank you so much. And I resonate with that because for several years, I feel like I floundered in UPCEA, like not quite know what to do. And the moment I started volunteering or joining a region or a network is when I really started utilizing the resources and getting to establish some links with folks. So that's definitely a great way to get involved. And I see that Annie in the chat says they make volunteering easy. I've been a part of other organizations where like you raise your hand and then like all of a sudden it's like a part-time job on top of your full-time job, right? UPCEA is not like that. UPCEA staff really do all the heavy lifting and you just bring your expertise. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but that's how it works at UPCEA. So I encourage everybody to start volunteering as soon as they can. So as we wrap up the resources, um, there's going to be a list in the chat. Oh, there it is. It's already there. Mel, thank you. So that when we get to the Q&A part, you know who to chat with. We have Chelsea, Rita, and Sandra. Sandra is not here, right? With the regions. And then we have Jazz representing networks. People like Charles and myself are institutional representatives and board members. And of course, there is, the awesome, super talented UPCEA staff here. So I would ask you to think about what questions you may have for all of us in a few minutes. But then what I'll do now is turn it over to Brandon for some insight.
All right, thank you so much, Yakut and Jazz. UPCEA is truly a member-driven organization as you might have picked up on by now. And these are some of the amazing folks that you would get to know through your membership. One area that some members have found to be a challenge is finding the right marketing, recruitment, and program mix for professional education programs. I saw a few folks in the chat reference this from Charles' prompt earlier. And one member benefit that we can help address, which is a bit of a learn and a know, is our free second opinion benefit. So I'd like to hand it over to my colleague, Stacy Sharamonte, who can speak more about our second opinion.
Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see you all here. I have to note quickly that I actually started in the New England region. I'm based here in Massachusetts with Jazz and with Mike, who are on this call today. So when Jazz says we're like family, it really was a great entry. We did a lot of work together. I think we were chair-elect, and past chair all at the same time for the New England region. And I'm the newest full-time staff member of UPCEA that's on this group today. I joined a little after Mel. I spent 13 years with Worcester Polytechnic Institute, and I'm a Babson alum. So I just wanted to shout out to everyone here and the Babson folks. But I really recognize some of the things that you're posting in the chat and some of the challenges that are going on because I was living them just a short time ago. I joined in the fall of 2023. And so when we talk about opportunities to learn, know, and even do, Brandon pointed out that second opinion is kind of a learn and a know. We've actually used that to help members to do as well. But the second opinion is a complimentary consult with one of our expert strategic advisors. And we have a team that is practitioners. They are practitioners in the field of online and professional continuing education. They have been vice provosts, provosts, deans, et cetera. Many are still actively working. Some are recently retired. They are so passionate about the field and sharing their knowledge that they work with us on an as needed basis to assist our members. And those projects, as we noted, can be, as Charles showed an example earlier, those can be paid projects. Those can be research and consulting work that we do customized to your unique needs. But the second opinion is complementary. And that is really an opportunity for you to talk with an expert, for us to dig into what your challenges are and think about how we can help you to move forward. And the example that Brandon shared is a real example. That was one that we wrapped up just recently. And the focus there is that the advisor does a little bit of prep work coming in. It's not a completely cold call. And we try to really talk through your current state, some of the challenges you're facing, some of those resource limitations, and offer practical, helpful tips that you could implement. And sometimes those things are things that you might be thinking about, but you just don't know if they're the biggest bang for the limited resources you have. They might be things that really weren't quite on your radar. And some of those challenges, it's just nice to hear a fresh perspective from someone who's lived through them themselves. And so, that's one recent example. We actually helped someone, a member that came, I just saw them at our Convergence conference, and they let us know that they developed an internal MOU for working with different academic partners who wanted to bring programs to their continuing education unit, the non-credit programs. So the MOU really helped to outline what level of support they would provide and what revenue share and what the fee structure would look like for that. But that was coming out of a second opinion. It was an opportunity for them to get some tangible help. So when you think about like marketing and recruiting, these folks have seen a lot. They have lived through a lot. We have navigated these waters, and they can help to sort of really think about ways to do more with less, which we're all facing right now, and to target reach. And folks from, I think it was University of St. Thomas, we feel you. We totally understand there's this renewed emphasis on CE, but then you've got folks that want to take, make sure that their FTE, the full-time equivalent students aren't dropping. And there's that weird sense of internal competition that we create when we sort of forget that we're really about serving learners, and that, the rising tide lifts all boats. So love to help members with these challenges. We truly are here for members, as Brandon noted at the start of this topic. But we are passionate about really helping you to be successful in the work that you do.
Thank you, Stacy. And I'm gonna pick up the thread that you just finished with how do we become better at what we do? So we're going to go a little bit deeper in sharing additional resources the association has to help all of us do what we do better. And then Mel will talk a little bit about membership before we get into the Q&A part, so that we can give you an opportunity to be more intentional with the questions that you have, and we can be more responsive to those. In terms of resources that are available to members to help what we do at our respective institutions and make that better, there are several. I will share one that, again, I'm very familiar with. But as Stacy just articulated, one of the key sources that we have as a profession is each other to help ensure that our path forward is as sharp as it can be in this very dynamic higher education space that we all operate. And in case you don't know, UPCEA has a Council for Credential Innovation that brings together thought leaders, university thought leaders, people who are leading specific functions and groups at universities, non-for-profits, to help honestly shape the future of non-degree offerings in our space, and to benefit from such a council that is highly structured, and it has a lot of services that come with it for membership, to give us a space where we can all learn and ensure that our strategies are aligned with a future that is well articulated. That benefits certainly my team and myself as we think about that space, the non-degree space. So sharing, collaboration, working with other leaders, ensuring that our ideas and our plans are as good as they can be so we can be better at doing. It's something that we have benefited a lot from by being affiliated with this great organization. Anybody else from the teammates, committee members, or others wants to share how they benefited to ensure that their work is as the best that it can be?
I'd love to share a little bit about our Uplift program, Charles. That's our mentoring program. It's been around, we're moving into our fourth year. This next year will be our fourth year. And what we do is we partner individuals that have similar interests with each other. So there's a mentor and a mentee, and the mentee fills out an application, talks about what they're interested in working on. They have a mentor. The program lasts for 6 months, and it's just a wonderful opportunity to share and get to know someone outside of your own institution. Sometimes you get into group think, and just to begin thinking and getting advice, if you're a mentee or if you're a mentor, helping guide someone who may really value your expertise. I've been working with the program since its inception. I usually have 1 or 2 and sometimes 3 mentees. It's been absolutely so rewarding for me as a mentor. So I would encourage you to start looking for promotions, which happen about November. The next cohort will start in January if you're interested.
Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for your leadership in that. Others want to share?
Charles, Chief Online Learning Officer concept or title is something I think our UPCEA upholds really well. It created a leadership space for us in our domain. We learn a lot from each other under the umbrella of that Chief Online Learning Officer. But of course, I see that as a benefit and leadership opportunity, not for those of us who are in those Chief Online Learning Officer positions, but also like a responsibility to trickle that down to our organizations, what we learned through that channel. 2 of our colleagues in that COLO, Chief Online Learning Officer group, recently published a book. I'm going to put the link in the chat. It's a great read. It's a great professional development opportunity. And then for those who aspire to lead institutions, this is a great guidebook for you to figure out, what aspects of your professional development are important for you to have that career progression. So I think there's so much that we learn from each other in that group and beyond. That's one of the things that I benefit a lot from. So here's the link.
Thank you for sharing that, Yakut. And honestly, let me also take a moment and thank you personally, because over a number of meetings, I've had the opportunity to learn from the great work that you're doing at Duke University. And I'm really grateful for that. And that speaks to the kind of relationship that
It's so funny you say that because I tell people here, you know what Charles is doing over there? You should be doing the same thing. So
we're neighbors or close. Well, thank you.
thank you.
I think we're on time, so I'm gonna try to stay on time. Mel, I believe you're gonna share a little bit about, or you're gonna shift a little bit the conversation, either you or Matt, to the membership.
Sure, we're going to tag team it a little bit. So each of you, I appreciate all of your unique insights, and you're totally correct, Yakut and Charles. We often go to these meetings and we go home to our office to talk to, hey, look what so and so is doing, and have we looked at this? What else could we be trying? And it's just wonderful the opportunity to learn from each other, for learn, know, and do all across everything between the leadership groups like the COLO and the CCI group, through Uplift, as well as the networks and the regions. Everybody's automatically assigned to a region based upon the geography of your campus, even if you work completely remotely. And so you can talk about things within your region. And one of the things you may see in the background as you look at our images is a region background for the regional salon. That is something that's free to members. We have two of them coming up, and that's a way, if somebody's interested about joining and you want to test out membership, you can reach out to us at membership at upcea.edu. Say, I'm interested in joining, but I want to test it out, and we can give you an opportunity to attend one of those regional salons that are coming up. And you get to pick which one most resonates with you. It may not be in your geographic region because we've already had 3 this year, but we've had 2 more. And so we want to give you that opportunity. But Matt has a special opportunity for new institutional members that we do periodically, and it's time to fill us in about that. Matt, will you take it away?
Sure. Thank you, Mel. So Matt Norsworthy, I'm Director of Integrated Solutions and Business Development here at UPCEA. And right now we're doing a special for our non-members who would like to become members. Institutional membership is based on Carnegie classification and enrollment. And when the institution joins, everybody at the institution, faculty, staff, administration, has access to the benefits and the membership. So our memberships run on a budget year. They all come due on July 1st and they run until June 30th. But right now, what we're doing is we're offering non-member institutions who would like to join the opportunity to do so and have it not come up for renewal until June of 2027. So, for instance, you say, hey, yes, our institution would like to join. We receive your payment, say tomorrow. I know that's awfully fast. But whenever we receive the payment, if it was this month, next month, what have you, your membership would become active based on when we receive that payment, and you would not have another renewal until June of 2027. So potentially a year and 6 months, 8 months extra at no extra charge. And then just every July, you come up for renewal for the entire institution. So those of you who are non-members and do want to join, please reach out. As Mel mentioned, the email address, if you want to try one of the salons first and get another feel for it. Or if you have any questions that you need, reassurance on or clarification on, feel free to reach out to us. But we would be happy to get you on board and get you with the UPCEA community. As you can see, neighbors, no matter where we are. Mel, I think you are coming up next. No, Brandon. My bad.
We're close. We're a team, by the way. Matt,
We are.
Brandon, and I all work together on a team. We tag team a lot.
Yep, indeed. Yeah, thanks, Matt and Mel. I know Mel had just spoken about this earlier very briefly, but as a test drive opportunity for membership, we do have our 2 remaining regional salons coming up, our Mid-Atlantic and West region salons. And these are great half-day opportunities centered around certain topics. There's networking, ability to chat in small groups. So I would highly recommend if you're not a member of UPCEA and you want to take us up on this offer, feel free to send us an email at membership@upcea.edu before the end of the week, and we can get you registered for one of those regional salons. It's a $50 value. If we have any members currently on this call, it's already included with your membership to register and attend. UPCEA is made up of 5 regions. We have the New England, the Mid-Atlantic, the South, the Central, and the West. And each of those regions put on their own half-day regional salons. So the Mid-Atlantic and the West are the 2 that we have remaining for this year. So feel free to check those out if you're interested. It's a great opportunity to learn more about UPCEA itself, network with some folks. And talk about topics that are relevant to online and professional education. So please feel free to check that out. And I think now we're at the part to turn it back over to Charles if we want to open it up to some Q&A.
That's right. Thank you, Brendan. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Mel. It's great to hear about the easy road that you have paved for new organizations to join UPCEA. I just want to also say thank you to current existing members who already shared examples. We have provided a lot of information, a lot of examples. Again, thank you again to those members and teammates from UPCEA. I have benefited every time I interacted, I learned, I felt supported. And I know you can tell from this conversation that this is a very valuable association for us. And I hope that you're already sensing that. But this is a moment where we want to get more intentional with what's on your mind, with questions that you may still have, either about the association or the work that is going on across members or across members and staff members. So by all means, feel free to share. And I believe Brandon or somebody else is going to navigate the who goes next in the Q&A if we have more than one person. Mel is shaking her head, so I'm assuming it's going to be Mel. But yes, let's give it a minute for people to share questions that they may have about what they've learned today.
And you can actually come right on camera and talk. You don't have to raise your hand or be in the chat, but we're happy to interact with everyone here. I know a couple of people had to leave early and they had some questions. So, and if you don't volunteer, I may just say your name and ask if there's anything we can do for you today. But I'll give you a second first. Okay, Gail, I think you were one of the first people in today. Is there anything we can answer for you or help you with today?
Thanks. Well, I've been wanting to attend one of these for a long time. So I just passed in July, passed my year mark in this position. So I've a huge learning curve, and our institution is not a member. And I guess because our budget is, for continuing education, of course, is supposed to be self-supporting and is small. And so I'm trying to figure out way to sell the membership to the institution rather than our having to pay for it out of our budget. So that's kind of my goal. I do have some colleagues at the other Nevada institutions that are members, but I believe because they're larger institutions, the institution covers the expense.
Actually, most of our members are paid within a single department like yours,
Mhm.
but we can split that payment between 2 departments. So let's say you have a sister department in marketing, you do a lot of work to market all your programs, and your 2 departments want to split that payment, we can certainly do that for you as well. So it can be whatever makes the most sense for your individual context. We're happy to assist you. But this new member deal, you're getting almost 1 3/4 years for the price of 1 year. It's something that your groups can coordinate on in the near future, as opposed to waiting to July 1, where you would only get the 12 months. Not that 12 months is a bad deal at all. Our most expensive dues, everyone, is under $5,000 at this point in time for just about every institution. If somebody's a giant mega corporation institution, something like that, then it might be something different. But most of our institutions are in that middle range underneath 5,000. And because the roster is unlimited, if you divide the number of people that might benefit from it across the 9 different networks we have, it can really pay for itself really quickly, especially because you don't have to travel to participate in all the things that we do. That is a big constraint that a lot of people are facing right now is travel budget.
Yeah, Gail, let me also offer that, at least in my case, you've heard that I'm part of a relatively young function school. I was not shy about asking the university to help seed some of the funding that was needed, with the promise that down the road I'll pick that up as we became more profitable. So I don't know what stage you are. It could be in a turnaround stage, you could be in a growth stage, even though you may not be new as a function. But that might be a negotiation approach that might be helpful as you're trying to secure resources for a better tomorrow.
Thank you. That's great advice.
Gail, I was actually intrigued by your question you asked in the chat when you first joined. Do you want to talk a little bit about what exactly the challenge is? I think I understand because I honestly I am one of those who believe that the teaching and learning and program development strategy for an institution can no longer be undergraduate and graduate on one side and then continuing studies on the other side. So like you might be observing things that are going to integrate over time, but of course it's creating financial challenges for you, it seems. Do you want to say anything more so we understand the exact situation?
Sure. So our college is, I mean, we have 2-year and 4-year degrees, but it's primarily a 2-year community college. And we are in mining area, a lot of mining in our area in Nevada. And so a lot of workforce development, a lot of training for mining. And there are certain things that used to be under continuing education that have now been taken as skills certificates. And so they are so that the college can get FTE for those certificates. So that is that's kind of the challenge that I see like moving forward is as all the institutions are scrambling to, the enrollment cliff drop off for high school students, all the different challenges that they're facing with trying to increase enrollment, anything that they see that is going to be a potential, industry need is probably going to be made into a skill certificate or a short, an associate's degree at that kind of range, anything from a skill certificate all the way up to associates. So that's kind of what we're up against. And of course we can't compete with the college, so we have to find where we fit. And so that's my ongoing kind of challenge is like where exactly do we fit so that we are self-sustaining but not competing.
Gail, as you were talking, this is Chelsea, by the way. Hi. I put in chat some ideas for the departments that I went asking for money when I wanted
Okay.
help. So if you want specific places to look for dollars to help fund this, you can go. I would say your challenges are not unique, but they are definitely timely and everyone's grappling with them, right?
Mhm.
Certainly you will become like a knowledge resource center for your institution because while people are chasing FTE, you have, I'm sure, years of experience delivering this kind of programming. And so I'm sure you'll be a knowledge resource for your institution. If you haven't heard of the Convergence Conference, I've never been, but I know some of our folks in Workforce Dev, Not for Credit, have gone and just really enjoyed it. So the Convergence Conference might be an awesome initial opportunity. Now that's travel and expense, of course, but for you to be around like-minded colleagues and to really gain all of this, kind of validate everything you know, I think, from them, and then be able to come back to your institution and be this real powerhouse of knowledge for them. I think that would be such a good opportunity for you. And good luck. And
Thank you.
of course, you can reach out to any of us on the call, I'm sure, but when you are a member of UPCEA, truly you do gain these friendships and colleagues that you could reach out to at any time if you run into these kind of issues. So,
Thank you.
yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to volunteer a question?
I was just going to piggyback really quick on what Chelsea had said about recommending the Convergence Conference, which is a fantastic conference. But we also do have Mel mentioned one of our 9 networks. We do have a network that is solely dedicated towards the credentialing space, or Credential Innovation Network. So that's something, Gail, if you are able to become a member, I would highly recommend being a part of. And there's no additional cost to join one of the networks. It's included with the membership.
Great, thank you.
I just feel like I would be so remiss if I didn't mention the work that Jim Fong and the whole research and data team do. I mean, I've been with UPCA now for so long, but I just can't thank them enough. And even just today, before we were on this call, I was analyzing some enrollment projections and some of the work that we've partnered with a vendor to do. And we are paying a lot of money. I mean, we are stretching big to achieve our FTE goals, right? Because we really need to maintain kind of the scale and size that we're used to at our institution. So we're paying so much to be able to achieve it. And so we want to be able to benchmark our success or what we're achieving with other institutions. And I'm grappling with, well, how am I ever going to figure out what the cost per enrollment is for other online schools? I could find it for like all public institutions, but traditional student is different, right? But of course, Jim Fong, working with other colleagues, had a benchmarking report available last November that has exactly what I needed, the data exactly that I needed. And so that's really helping to validate the hundreds of thousands of dollars we're spending to gain FTE. And say, well, actually, we are well within the median range of what other institutions are spending for our students, right? Versus people seeing a price tag and saying, why are you spending that much? What are you doing? We're saying, well, actually, we're kind of a little below what these experts have found to be a benchmark. And that is so hard to quantify the value of that. But when institutions are really trying to grapple with every dollar spent, and then we can really justify, absolutely, this is a great use of our dollars. Just the work he's done time and time again has been phenomenal. So and the whole team, I'm just so grateful. And sorry, Gail, I didn't mean to take over your question, but I just thought I didn't want to leave this call without letting everybody know the incredible work they do. And some of the resources are honestly free and open to anyone, but some too are just kind of in the members only section, and they're just so invaluable.
Yaku, I see your hand up there.
Yeah, if I can just quickly add to Chelsea's remarks here, my very first encounter with UPCEA was because I was like just searching the web for some benchmarking. This was more than a decade ago, like so long ago. And then at the institution that I was back then, we had X number of dollars coming through our professional education. And we're like, oh, yeah, look at all this money. And then we looked at the benchmarking and we're like in the bottom quartile, right? So that was an eye-opening moment. Like we're punching so below our weight, right? And then we decided to invest differently at that point. So definitely a strong +1 to what Chelsea was just mentioning. Huge benefit.
And I'm biased because that's the team I work on. But I did drop a link in the chat earlier because it's one of the studies that is available to non-members and members. We do benchmarking research, as Chelsea noted, on a set schedule. So there's an annual, a biannual salary survey. There's a biannual marketing and staffing structure piece that we put out. So we really try to make sure that we're providing the data that our members need. And like Yakut, that is what led me to UPCEA back in 2011 or 2012 when I was with WPI. And Yakut and I actually met at a different organization's conference because we were both in engineering education. And so we met there a long time ago. But because of the uniqueness of this audience, it's very hard to find benchmarking data from some of the traditional places. And many institutions have EAB. They're a lot more expensive and they do great work. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to knock. We had Hanover and EAB as well as UPCEA at WPI, but I don't think they're as nuanced and as knowledgeable about the particular learner that we are. And so you get to a level of detail that is not easy for other institutions to get to if they're not really other organizations to get to if they're not really familiar with the preferences in this type of learner. And I led the graduate and continuing education portfolio at WPI. So I was only working with adult learners and I was trying to find what I needed at some of the traditional graduate spots, but they weren't. And keep in mind, this is back in the early 2010s, 2010 to 2020. And so online was still relatively new and continuing education, even though we had been doing it for 50 plus years at many of our institutions, the whole concept was just other. And so finding data was hard. Now, fast forward, it's still weirdly hard to find the right data on this population, even though it shouldn't be. And we find now that we have to think about this adult learner differently because some of our undergrads that follow a different path fall into this bucket. And UPCEA has never overlooked and Chelsea's mentioned Jim's work, but one of his big initiatives for many years was really defining the personas of our learners. And you'll see that those personas really do resonate with the types of learners that we're serving in different ways and help you to think about refining your outreach strategies and marketing messaging. So all that to say, that is available as your membership fee. We do not charge extra for access to benchmarking reports. We do probably between about 10 to 12 studies a year. Some of them are sponsored by partners. I do want to note that our corporate partners are very important to us. Not everyone is a corporate partner for a lot of reasons, but they do not influence the research. The research is entirely owned and driven by the UPCEA research and consulting team.
Well, we have a few minutes left for questions. I see some lovely faces here that we haven't heard from today. Wendy, Katie, Tom, Lindsay, Leah. I just scared somebody off. I'm sorry. If there's somebody who has a question or anything we can do for you today to help lift the load for you or welcome you as a potential future member, please take this opportunity.
Hi all. I don't have any questions, but I think this all sounds really fascinating. I have been, my colleague Katie and I have been side chatting because we're sort of like, this feels like a very smart opportunity for us over here at Babson and where we're at and where we're looking to go. So, and I know Katie, I think, has been in touch with someone. I'm not sure if it's a face on this team, but somebody in the past and has some information. So, definitely has piqued my interest for sure.
Thank you, Wendy.
I'll just echo Wendy just to say hello and thank you for inviting us to this call. It was very helpful. It was something we had explored last year. So I manage the executive programs at Babson, report into Wendy. So I don't have much more to add than what she did, but just letting you know that this is definitely something we've been exploring. It just kind of got tabled for a little bit. So it was perfectly timed that we got invited to this, and listening to all of you, it's been very educational for us and definitely feels like a place where we belong. So we'll definitely be revisiting it. And if we have other questions, I will reach out for sure.
Thank you. Okay, Charles, not hearing any more questions. I think it's time to start wrapping up.
Sounds good. Let me just say thank you to all the prospective or about to become new members who have joined us. Thank you for taking some time from your busy day to learn more about the great work that has been done by the teammates and the members of this wonderful organization. And I want to say thank you to my committee members, teammates, people that, as I said, I have benefited from personally. along my learning journey by being part of this association. So thank you all for coming together this afternoon to share and learn, and looking forward to connecting with you as we move forward, hopefully in one of the either convenings or the online platforms or another of the resources that has been named here in today's conversation. So thank you, Mel. Thank you, team, for organizing this.
Yes, thank you everyone for coming, and thank you to all the committee members for participating today, and Charles and Yakut for being our host and co-host today. We couldn't do it without you. You are UPCEA, and we are better for you being part of everything that we are. So thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.